A big shout out to our sponsors this week, PNI, Pure Nutritional International. The PNI brand is an all-inclusive brand of affordable nutritional products that can be used by all, regardless of age or physical ability. You can find all the information in the description. Give them a follow, guys. Hello everybody, welcome to the Billy Moore podcast, and today's special guest is none other than Liam Harrison, 8 times world Muay Thai boxing champion, and we've got a lot to talk about, haven't we?
I think we have, mate. I think we have.
First of all, thanks as well for coming along. Well, come on.
Not a problem at all, mate. I've been watching some of your podcasts recently. I'm a fan, so I'm looking forward to this.
Brilliant. So tell me a little bit about yourself before we go into anything. Let's hear your story.
Well, I started Muay Thai when I was 13. Yeah, 13 I was. And in the gym where we're sat now, I walked through these doors when I was 13, and that was it. I just fell in love straight away. I was playing football at quite a high level, and my cousin Andy Howson, he's now 5-time world champion himself. He had just started. He said, "Do you want to come down? Do you want to try this out for a little bit of extra fitness?" And it's a bit of a rough area around here as well. So yeah. I thought, you know what, learning how to fight a little bit properly. And I was always a bit rough and ready in school, but I didn't really have any idea about fighting like properly. He said, "Do you want to come down, try it for a bit of extra fitness?" I walked through these doors when I was 13, and I absolutely just fell in love straight away. I was playing football at a good level as well. I had scouts watching me from Leeds. I trialled at Barnsley and Sheffield Wednesday, and had scouts watching me from them clubs and stuff. And up until I was 17, I was still playing a bit of football alongside Thai boxing, but this was always, as soon as I walked through these doors, that was it. I was obsessed by everything about it. Even to the point where on my dinner hour at school, I was just running to the gym and trying to get a quick session in on bags and stuff. If I were at home, this was before camera phones were a thing. If I were at home, I'd like get my dad's digicamera and I'd point it on myself and watch myself shadow boxing and stuff just to see how my technique was. That's how obsessed I became with it.
I think you do, don't you? See, I probably a little bit younger than yourself. I walked into a gym and I fell in love with it, and it was totally the opposite of Muay Thai. It was boxing.
Yeah.
You know, and it was the discipline, and it was getting there. And I don't know if you felt the same, but I was kind of like a little bit of a loner growing up. But I mean, see, where you had football, I was never a team player. Did you feel that, like, getting into Muay Thai, which is a sport, like, it's unusual in the UK, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially, well, you're 35 now, aren't you?
Yeah.
So going back then, it was probably like not less kind of
It wasn't mainstream at all then, at all. I mean, like, there were still shows going on every weekend, but there were no fucking filling out stadiums or all like that. They were like working men's clubs and stuff like that, all filled with smoke. They were the shows that were happening. It wasn't like, you might get 300-400 people in there, whereas now you're getting thousands in stadiums. But like you say, back then it were not mainstream whatsoever. And people would say to me, like, "Oh, I've just started doing Thai boxing." They go, "What's that? Kickboxing?"
Yeah.
I go, no, it's a bit different. And people hadn't heard of it. Everyone knew what kickboxing was from John Claude Van Damme, the film Kickboxer. They know, is it kickboxing? No, it's not kickboxing. And you have to explain to them, you can knee, you can elbow, and stuff like that. But yeah, no one knew about it at all back then, really. And like, no fighters were going to Thailand hardly, and there weren't many Thais coming to England, just the odd one. But like, whereas you look at it now, it's growing and growing and growing. I think the UFC's helped with stuff like that as well. As more people are getting into combat sports and fight sports now with the help from UFC and stuff. So it's a shame I'm about to retire it next 3 years or something, because the money and stuff in it now is really good. Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, I've been lucky enough to make a good career from it though.
Yeah. Well, this is a fact, right? And I read this, right? That Muay Thai boxing, right, is the most devastating martial art in the world. It's on the planet, right? I remember reading somewhere about the best of the best from Japan, Brazil, came to Thailand. There's a few of them, karate, taekwondo, and they all got knocked out within 3.5 minutes cumulatively. You know what I mean, against Thais, because it's like, you know, Thai boxing, the Thais are blessed with the venom in every limb. Yeah. You know, elbows, knees. It's a fucking dangerous sport. It's not easy. It's not kickboxing.
No, it's not.
I've got cousins who kickbox. It's definitely not kickboxing. Yeah. I mean, so what was your experience of your first fight?
I was 13. My first junior fight, I was 13, and I only ever had one, because you have to wear all the pads and stuff like that. I looked old for my age as well. Yeah. So I fight now at 65 kilo. My first fight when I was 13, we were only at 60 kilos, so it wasn't really much difference in my size. No. So this were with all the pads on and stuff like that, and I hated it. I felt restricted. Even though I loved the fight at the time, I just, afterwards, I was like, I said to Richard, my coach, I said, I can't put all them pads on again. I said, I hate it, Richard. I said, can't I just fight like the men fight? Like, my cousin was fighting with no shin pads and stuff. He was 19. I went, can't I just fight like Andy's fighting? Yeah. And he was like, you're not even 14-year-old. So I'd had that junior fight. And then my 14th birthday come, and he said, look, we've got a fight here. We've got this 16-year-old. They want you to fight, no shins, just gloves. He said, we're going to have to lie, though, and say you're 16. So we did that. And then at the weigh-in, I watched him weigh in, and then he went outside, and he fucking drove off in his Golf GTI. And I thought, he ain't 16. But how old's this guy? It turned out he was 18. Yeah. And I was 14 at the time. But I was young, and I was just full of spunk, and I just wanted to fight, and I had no fear. You know what it's like when you're young and you just don't care. Yeah. I just had no fear, and I knocked him out in first round. And after that, there were really no going back to being able to fight people who were around my own age. I just ended up fighting men from then on.
I had something similar to that when I got in the ring. And I was only a junior boxing, and there was this kid, I think he had about 4 or 5 fights, and he had badges all over his shorts, all over his vest. I haven't even got one badge, you know what I mean? And I said to my trainer, John Rice, I said, John, he's got all kinds of badges there, mate. He's a machine. He went, take no notice of them, lad. They're for swimming and other things, don't worry about them.
Dolphin 5 award.
But I beat him. And because I listened, you know, did you ever listen to your coach? Because it is hard, look, I don't care who you are or what you're about. When you're in the ring, right, even at a young age, we're distracted, we don't take much in. And you've got your corner man and your trainer telling you, look, do this, do that. It sounds good, but when you're breathing and you're under pressure and you're back out there, it changes.
That's one of the hardest things, and it's still difficult to do now, even after having 115 professional fights. Listening to your coach and being able to stay calm when you're under pressure and let the info sink in. Yeah. Instead of just being sat there in the corner looking at them, and it looks like you're listening, and like it's just going in and out of one ear, and straight in one ear, one out the other. That's the hardest part, still trying to... And it takes a while before you can master that, because especially when I was 14... Yeah. And I just knocked my first opponent out, and I just thought, right, I can fucking knock everyone out now. But then eventually you come against someone who who's tough, they've got a good chin, and you need to have another game plan, because I found that, you know, it were about 3 fights down the line. Obviously, I'd fought an older guy. There were no going back to fighting younger people. We just said I was 16. I ended up fighting, I think my second or third fight, I think he were about 25, 26, and he was like a strong guy. And I went out first round trying to blow him away. He walked through all my punches, and I was fucked then in round 2. I was knackered. So I had to listen to the corner then, because he was like, look, you're not going to knock him out. You have to do this, this, and this. And a lot of people have said to me before, saying, do you think it's a bit bad that Richard used to put you in at that young age to fight men? And I said, no, he's never, ever overmatched me. Yeah. I went 29, my first 29 pro fights unbeaten, because he knew what I was capable of. If he wouldn't have knew what I was capable of, he wouldn't have put me in that situation, if you know what I mean.
Well, you know as well as me, mate, it does affect your self-esteem and your confidence. See, I won my first 5 on the run, and I thought that was it. I was unbeatable.
Yeah, you think you're bulletproof, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I thought, you know, I'm like, what? I was 15 years old, 5 fights undefeated, and I'm walking around like Johnny Concrete, you know what I mean? And then we flew to Ireland, and we went to a little place called Cavan, and I think it was 14 Scousers going over to fight an Irish team. And I was in the ring. And over there, you had to wear head guards. It was compulsory. Over here, you didn't have to, in the UK, we never used to wear head guards. So I had one on, and it was restricting my vision. And this Irish kid just kept coming forward. 1, 2, 1, 2. And I was just picking him off. I put him down on his knees in the first round and carried on doing what I was doing. At the end of the fight, he'd won by a majority decision. And I was like... I was floored. Yeah. The reason he won was because he was the more aggressive, in a sense, coming forward. Right. I was always picking him off on the defensive. I don't think they were scoring points, but yeah, that affected me. Yeah. And then I lost again. And I think, fucking hell, you know. So it is a lonely sport, and it's one that really can, like, something like that make you think, well, is it for me, or is it not for me? How did you come to that decision where you thought, okay, is this for me, or am I going to take the wins with the losers? It
was probably in about like I said, I went 29, my first pro fights, unbeaten.
Yeah.
My first time I fought a Thai fighter, I would just turned 17. I just won the UK #1 spot.
Was this in Thailand?
No, this were over here.
Was it?
They flew a team in to fight the best 5 guys from England, and 5 Thais came over.
Yeah.
And I just won the UK #1 spot, and then they rang me and said, right, we're putting this show on in 6 weeks. There's 4 English, there's 4 Thais. We want you to fight on the main card. And this was the first time, and I was like, just turned 17. I thought, fucking hell, this is what I've been wanting. This is what to get on these shows, to fight the Thais, because there are only a certain few fighters from England who can match with the Thais. So there weren't many Thais coming over to fight. So I thought, right, this is it. Yeah. This is my chance now. And then I was the first one on the card for the English team. And I thought, right, this is it. And I won round 2 and 3. And in round 4, I put a clip on my Instagram the other day, actually. It went bang with a head kick, and it dropped me in it. First time I'd ever been knocked down. First time I'd ever fucking had been hurt in a fight. And I remember being stood there, and then the next thing, I was looking up at the lights, and I thought, oh, I've been knocked out. I thought, fuck. And I stood up, and ref went 4, 5, and I thought, shit, I haven't been knocked out. And he ran in to finish me off, did the tie. I just put my hands up, and I just went bang, and I threw a left hook, and he went straight down. And then he got up, and I finished him, and I knocked him out. And I think that's when I thought, I fucking loved that. Even though I got hurt, I got up. It was a bit like a bit of a Rocky moment, you know. Yeah. And I thought, this is it. This is what I want to do. And I was still playing football at the time then. And I said to my dad, I said, look, I was still playing semi-professional football as well, so it wasn't like a crap level. I was still playing Farsley Celtic Academy, which is
so you could have went either way with your career, really.
I probably could have got paid in the lower leagues to play football, but I wouldn't trade what I did for anything, because the experiences I've had fighting all over the world, nothing can ever compare to that. Yeah. So I definitely that were in. After that fight, I said, right, I'm choosing this. And then 4 weeks later, after the night after that fight, I was the only English boy who won. So after that fight, the promoter called Richard and said, look, we've got a fight in Japan in 4 weeks against the Japanese #1. Does Liam want to do it? He said the Japanese promoters have asked to send a strong fighter who might have a chance of knocking him out. Yeah. So I went over there 4 weeks later, 17 in Japan. My dad came with me. And in Japan, I don't know if you've ever seen fights in Japan, they all just sit in absolute silence. So, just silence, mate. They're not cheering or anything. So I'd watched about 3 or 4 fights before mine, so I'm waiting to go on. I said, this is fucking weird. I said, what's going on? And I said to my coach, I'm going to have them swinging off light bulbs by the time I'm finished. And then the guy I was fighting, Japanese #1, he'd had about 3 times the fights I'd had. Round 1 and 2 were close, but I think he was just edging just because of his experience. Yeah. And then round 3, I just went, right, I'm going to go crazy and just try and knock him out. I went out and I dropped him, and and he got up, and I just drawn him into fighting like my style of fight, and we just went to war. All Japanese were stood up and clapping and stuff like that. And I think with 10 seconds left in that round, I knocked him out. And I remember all Japanese stood up and clapping, and I thought, this is fucking, there's no drug like this on earth. And I was addicted to it then, like proper. I thought, this is what I want to do with my life.
Oh, I can identify with that. It's see, like in Thailand, you've got like the whole of Thailand in the corner screaming.
It's gamblers, isn't it? About 50 of them.
and the money's waving. Yeah. And the gambling's outrageous.
It's beauty, you know,
it's just crazy, and it's life or death. And I remember the first time I won, that feeling. Yeah. Right, and like I'm getting in. I was because I'm a big lad. I must have been fighting at about 80 kilo back then. So I got him with a big tie. You know what I mean?
An 80 kilo tie kicking you will not feel nice, mate. Fucking hell.
I've got pictures there, Liam, right? And he said to me, this kid, and I got knocked out for the first time in my life, and it was by the Swedish #1 kickboxer, right? And the trainer went, just get in there, have a little spar. He's fighting in the middle of the week. He just wants to get in a bit of training. Here's me. Whatever. Mate, he kicked me, right? At the same feeling, right? I woke up, and the Thais were like standing over, and I was like, what are you doing standing over? What's happening? And you know the shame? The shame I felt. That's the first time in my life of being put down, you know what I mean? But yeah, I won that first fight, the first Muay Thai competition. He said to me, whatever you do, don't get into clinches.
No
matter what. Them knees, right? Them knees and them elbows, you don't want to get close to them. So it was like, bam, bam. And he hit him, and he went down. Nice right cross bang, and he went down. And that feeling, right, with everyone behind you, there's nothing better. You know, there's nothing better than that. You know, unfortunately, it never turns out that way for me anyway, going forward. But for you, it did. Yeah. You know what I mean? Your career sort of went, you know, took leaps and bounds, really, didn't it?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about it.
So I just had that fight in Japan, and then for the first time after that, I went to Thailand for the first time. I were a bit of a shock to the system. I only went for 3 weeks, and they asked me when I got there, said, "Do you want to have a rematch with that Thai you've just knocked out?" I said, "I'll decide when I get there." I said, because I want to go. I want to see a little bit of Thailand as well as training. I said, "I've never been, so I don't know if
Where
it's
did
one."
you go?
I went to Bangkok to Jitty Gym, and I stayed in Bangkok. And I'd never been before, so I wanted to have a look.
Never go down to Pattaya?
Oh, fucking hell, mate. I was terrified first time I ever went to Pattaya, mate. It's a scary place, that. I even, a few years ago as well, I even took my missus just so I could, because she was like, I want to see it. I want to see it. When you fucking don't.
That mile long.
That
mile
walking
long
street.
strip.
Walking street is scandalous, isn't it?
It's fucking scandalous.
I took my missus there. She was like,
Did you see the Russian bar?
Which one's that?
The ones with the glass.
Oh, with glass ceilings and that.
Yeah, the birds are dancing around poles in the streets, and then you've got, is it Thingy's bar? Fucking Tom's bar or something, mate. With all kinds of Ferraris and Porsches.
Yeah,
outside.
there's some fucking crazy stuff in
But
Pattaya.
you know what I see, before we carry on, you know the comparison of like Millionaires Row and poverty.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? It's there and there.
It's there and there, yeah. So that's what the senses you get. Is that what your experience was in Thailand?
Yeah, it would because when I got there and they said to me again, right, you're here now. Do you want to fight this Thai? I said, I want to have a look around a little bit. I said, I want to train, learn a bit from Thai trainers who I've never really worked with, and I want to go see all the stuff in Thailand and experience Thailand properly. I said, I don't want to come here, stay in this gym for 3 weeks, fight and go home without seeing anything. It's my first time. Yeah. So I trained every day, but then I was off at night or running around in fucking soy cowboy and fucking a lot of it. I saw soy cowboy, fucking hell. Yeah, Papong and all the rest of it. I was running around in all that on night time, but I was still training and learning a bit. But yeah, it's like you say, the culture shock. You'll have one street that's fucking like immaculate, and then over the road from it, you'll have people like living in huts down by the river and stuff with nothing. It's like you say, it's a crazy place, and it was a bit of a shock to the system when I first saw it for the first time. And when I came home after that, I was a bit disappointed that I didn't fight. I thought, fuck me, I was just in Thailand, the home of Thai boxing. I didn't even fight. So I put it on my bucket list, and I thought, all right, I'm going to go back for 3 months so I can fight there. I came back home to England. I had a few more fights. I was like, by the time I was 18, 19, not 18, I was being rated as pound for pound the best fighter in the country. Yeah. I'd had about 27 fights unbeaten, and I was just making a really, really good name for myself. I'd fought some good Europeans and some good Thais in England, but never like any elite level guys. So I went back over to Thailand for 3 months to train for a fight, and I wanted to fight in Thailand. But when I was there, I got a call from the Japanese promoters again, and the guy who I'd knocked out when I was 17, they said, right, we want you to come back and rematch him. I said, oh no, I'm in Thailand, I want to fight in Thailand, I'm here for 3 months. And they went, no, it's like this amount of money. And it was a lot of money. I went, I can't turn that down. I said, right, I'll see you soon. So I went out there after the first month. I fought the guy and I knocked him out again. Yeah. But I broke my hand when I knocked him out. I broke my knuckle. So I had to go back to Thailand, and I had like 6 weeks left in Thailand where I couldn't fight, and I was fucking devastated again. I thought, oh, it's happened again. I came home after this, and I was fighting my first Thai champion in England, like an elite level boxer. He was called Duao Kong Udom, and the fight before this, he'd just beat one of the best fighters in Thailand. But at the time, I'd been 29 fights unbeaten or something. I'd knocked out probably 20 of them. I was fucking, like you said earlier, you think you're invincible, don't you? I thought I was totally bulletproof. And I fought this Thai in England, and round 2, I went bang, dropped him with a left hook. He stood up and he was smiling, there was blood all over his teeth because he didn't have a gum shield in, and he went like that, and I thought, that's weird. They usually stay down when I hit them that hard.
Yeah. Some can take a dig.
Mate, in round 3, 4 and 5, he came out and he fucking destroyed me. He absolutely battered me. So I won round 2, 10-8, but he won round 3, round 4, 5, and he left me in a mess. He cut me with an elbow, first time I'd been cut. He kneed me so hard after the fight, I was pissing blood because of how hard he'd kneed me. He'd smashed my legs, I could hardly walk. I remember thinking after the fight, I was thinking, fucking hell, this is what it's like at that level. I thought, I'm not good enough for it at the minute. I said, I'm not ready for it. So after that, I messaged my girlfriend. Well, I didn't message her. I rang my girlfriend and said, look, I'm off to live in Thailand. I said, if I want to make a go of this, I need to get out of here. And I said, I can't fight them guys when I can't train like they can train. I said, I need to be able to do what I can do, the Western style, and mix it with the Thai style. I said, I need to be able to do that. I said, I'm off, it's over, I'm sorry.
See, I know how they train, and I train with them, right? And I know what they do to the shins. You know, they were telling me to rub bottles, glass bottles along the shins. And I was like, why? And it's like, get a callus upon your shin, because it's like, they're like bamboo. Yeah. I mean, you kick, bang, and it's like a little kick there, and he blocks. And I had the same, like, feelings of getting in the ring, and I was getting sorted. The backs of my legs were black and blue. There'd be big lumps coming up on me shins. I'd be getting massages down the road every time. They'd be throwing that tiger balm all over you. You'd be stinking of it. That was like the traditional kind of beginning of your fight, putting the straps on, getting the tiger balm, having a little Thai guy rubbing it all over you and getting it on your back. And the anxiety and the fear, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, and then you put the headset on and then you're in. The only thing I struggled was with the Ramway. Yeah. I did have a go, but I always felt self-obsessed. I thought, I'm not doing this right. But yeah, so you trained over there for quite some time now. So you lived there for a bit. How long did you live there for?
I was there for 2 years. So what I did was I went for 6 months, came home for a month to rest my body. 6 months, came home for a month. 6 months, came home for a month. I was doing it like that because in the 6 months I was there, I just thought, right, this is it. I'm living in the gym, like the Thais. I want to train like they train. I want to get treated how they get treated, and I'm just going to fight as much as I can. So I went out, and my first fight were after about 3 or 4 weeks out there, and it were against a fucking big, strong Russian, and there were no way in. And I said, to my coach, because we were on the
difference out there, but you don't care.
When we were on the plane down to Phuket, because we were in Phuket, it was. So we both flew from Bangkok. I went, Jitty, do you say I'm fighting a Russian? And he said, yeah. And the Russian fighter was on the plane to us, and I knew who he was. Yeah. I went, I'm not fighting that Russian, am I? Because he's flying down, and he's like 5 kilo heavier than me. Oh no. At the time, he was 7 kilo heavier than me, because I was fighting lighter. And Jitty went, no, you're not fighting him, don't worry. Got down there, he went, no, just jump on scales. So I jumped on fully clothed and went, same. Yeah, you're fighting him. I said, I thought you said I wasn't fighting him. It's like, he's fucking massive. Yeah. He went, of course you're fighting him. Just get on with it. You'll be all right. I dropped him in round 1. And then I ended up winning the fight after I went, I think I gave away about fucking 5 or 6 kilo, but I fought pretty smart and didn't take too much damage. And the Thais loved it because I was fucking way smaller and they were all betting against me and I won. So they loved it then. So after that, I think I fought about 3 or 4 times more in succession, won all the fights. And then I had a big fight in Rajadamnern against a decent ranked fighter. There were a lot of money getting bet on it, and I fucking bet all my own money on it. I bet by this time I'd moved out of the gym because the Thais were doing me head in. You know what it's like when you're living with Thais? They're all fucking, they're annoying, and especially because I was only Western who were actually living in the gym at the time. There were a lot of Westerners.
I know how the army. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like at the time there were a lot of Westerners training in the gym, but I was the only one living with the Thais, and they were just doing me head in. I couldn't take it anymore. So by this time I'd got a little apartment just next to the gym, and just lived there. But then I obviously had to pay my rent. So if I didn't have money from fighting, my rent wasn't getting paid. I was so sure I was going to win this fight. I said to JT, I went, right, bet my entire wage for me. I said, here's some more money, bet that. So I bet all my fight money. I bet all the money I had. All the Thais bet on me. And in round 3, I went, bang, left hook, wobbled him. He looked rocked like that. I ran in to finish him. And as I did, I threw a punch and he threw a knee at the same time. And it hit me straight in solar plexus. And all my energy just went. I sat down end of round 3, and the all Thais were like, it's like about 50 of them in corner all shouting at you. They were going, why didn't you finish him? And I said, I'm fucked. I said, that knee's just took it. I said, I can't breathe. Yeah. I went out round 4, I had no energy, and round 4 was the money round in Thailand, and that's the big scoring round.
The trees up to trees are like the warm-up sound.
Yeah. So round 4, I lost round 4, even though I won round 3 and he won round 4, I was still slightly behind then. But by that time, I was chasing the fight, and that knee that he gave me, it took all my power away, so there were no snapping me punches anymore. I lost the fight on points. I had no fucking money to show for it. I was in a bad way as well. All my shins were splattered. And then I went back after a fight. All Thais were fucking pissed off because I'd lost all their money for them as well.
They're angry at you, man.
Yeah. I said, I didn't tell you to bet. That were up to you. But I had no money for my rent. And Thai said, what are you going to do? You got no money for your rent. I said, well, I need to fight again. I said, you need to get me another fight. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go home. So I don't want to ring my mum and say, Mum, put me a flight. I'm coming home with my tail between my legs. I said, I've come out here to make a rep for myself. I said, I need to fight. So 2 days later, we jumped on a plane down to Phuket. And then the next after, so it'd been 3 days, I fought again. I fought a decent fighter, but I ended up knocking him out in round 3. Got a decent wage, came back and paid me rent.
Yeah, I had a little fight in Phuket. Where about was it?
Bangla or Patong?
No, it was not Patong. It was in, do you know, the island.
Oh yeah.
No, sorry, it was Patong.
Yeah.
But it was only a show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, I was one of them. I'll get in with anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, because I was like the extremist, but I enjoyed it. But it was just for the experience as well, really. You know what I mean? So, can you speak Thai? You must have learned something.
Do you know what? When I was staying there in the gym with the Thais all around me all the time, I felt like I was getting quite good at it. And then since I've gone out from Thailand and come back home, every time I go again now, it's like my brain's a second behind and I have to proper sit there trying to think of the words and stuff like that. It's I'm quite good at it when I've lived there, but then after that, it's just...
But you're never going to be fluent, are you?
Nah. Do you know what I did? I just wanted to be good enough just to understand when I knew they were talking about me.
Ah, mate, that's the way.
That's all I wanted to know. Because I could see when they were doing it, and I'd be like, this is doing my fucking head in this.
Yeah.
Not understanding it.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get just good enough where if I knew they were slagging me off for something, I could say, here, what you want to
once they know, right, once the Thais know that you can understand what they're saying, right, the shout that they've got is like Farang Luliang.
Yeah.
Right, so it's like, they know, Farang knows too much now, don't the Farang knows too much. And when, I've been in a shop and they've been calling me, like the biggest insult in Thailand, by the way, is buffalo. And it's Kwai. It's Kwai. And like, for fucking hell, jump in the queue being called worse than that, you know what I mean? It's not the be all and end all. But yeah, so, you've had some really, really good fights, haven't you?
Yeah.
Was it Senshai?
Sanchai, yeah, he's a great fighter.
You've never won a fight with him, have you?
No, I've had 3 and he fucking beat me every time.
I was like...
But I was close, though.
You were close, but he's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, he's like the Floyd Mayweather of Muay Thai.
Yeah, so tell me about was you, like, going into the first fight and knowing his experience and knowing his history, did that dictate how you felt?
At the time, I think I was 22 the first time I fought him.
Young, aren't you?
Yeah. And at the time, the promoter rang me and said, look, I want to bring he's the best fighter of all time and I want to bring him to England. He said, you're the only one who's going to give him a fight. Do you want to fight him? I went, fucking yeah. 22. I'd had a lot of good wins before then. I think I'd just knocked out one of the Thai champions from Rajadamnern. I'm a WMC champion, which was a good level belt in Thailand. All the Thais fought for this belt and stuff. So I was at a high point in my career. Like you say, 22 as well. You got no fear still then. And I said, yeah, bring him over. I want to fight him. And the atmosphere for that first fight, because it was the first time he'd ever fought in England, everyone wanted to see him. And my worry was, everyone just wants to see him and no one's going to give a fuck about me. He's going to be in my own country and everyone's going to be cheering for him, because everyone was so buzzing about him coming.
Yeah.
And we're in London and the arena was fucking just filled. And when he came out to the ring, everyone went absolutely mental and he like danced out to the ring doing his hand dancing and all that, and all fans loved it. And I was stood at the top of the steps waiting to walk down into the ring, and I was gutted and I'm thinking, fucking hell, they're all cheering for him. And then when my music came on, everyone literally jumped out of the seat and went even more crazy for me. Yeah. And I was buzzing by that. In the fight though, I got sucked into trying to fight his style a little bit more, and I let him dictate the pace. So round 1, 2 and 3 were even. Yeah. And then in round 4, because he'd just been holding it as an even fight, he just pulled away a little bit and won on points. What I should have done in retrospect, in round 2 or 3, I should have just upped the pace and put it on him. But because I thought, hang on, because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to hold my own with him. He's the greatest fighter of all time. And when I started like going tit for tat with him and technique for technique, and I'd threw him down and I'd swept him a few times, I thought, hang on a minute, can I beat him just like what I'm doing now? Yeah. And he just like lulled me in, let me think I could, and then he pulled away in round 4. So in the second fight, I was 24 then. In the second fight, I just trained like an absolute maniac. And I said, I'm not doing that again. I said, fuck this, I'm just going mental. Yeah. I'm just going to go mental and try and knock him out. And in round 3, he hit me with a body shot in round 3, because he's a southpaw. And what he did was he flicked his jab up and then went bang. And I put my hands up and it hit me straight in solar plexus, and he knew he hurt me. And I like sat down like that a little bit, and he hit me with 2 or 3 more body shots. And he went for another one, and I went bang, elbowed him, cut him right over his eye. And I'd never seen him get cut before or anything like that. And I could see he started to get a bit worried, and he went on back foot then, and I went back at him, and I hit him with some disgraceful punches and elbows. Yeah. In round 4, he went grey at one point because I'd made such a fast pace of the fight. Yeah. I wouldn't let off him. And in round 4, I swept him 2 or 3 times, and I think I just might have nicked round 4. So it was a close fight going into round 5, and I sat down at the end of round 4, and I looked over, and he was in his corner, he was bleeding, he was tired. I thought, I can fucking beat him here. And then in round 5, he just came out, and he was like a different fighter. He just like kicked, moved. He got all his energy back, and he won round 5 pretty easily, which gave him the fight. And that just shows like how good fighters like are, because I dragged him into like my style of fight that I wanted, not this style of fight like the first time. I dragged him into a war, punches, elbows, like exchanges, and that's how I wanted the fight to be. And he still managed to find a way to win. The third fight that were in Macau outdoors, I flew out to Thailand a week before, so I did a week in Thailand trying to get used to some sort of heat, but a week, it's not long enough to totally acclimatise to that heat. Yeah. We flew from Thailand to Macau, And I thought, I hope it's colder in Macau when we got there, and it was just as hot, and we were fighting outdoors. So round 1 and 2 again were even. Round 3, I started to pick up the pace a bit, and I felt all right. The end of round 3, I sat down, and I was fucked. I just couldn't get my breath. It was like I was breathing, I was going...
That probably was like your worst fight, you think, with the third one?
Yeah, the third one. I was trying to breathe, and I was going... And I just couldn't get it, and then I lost quite clearly in that fight.
I think what happens is the last 2 fights you've had, you've just like, the hope's going a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
I was literally thinking in that third fight, I tried everything in the second fight. I hit him with my best shots, and he took it. So,
Do you know what? And the slow starters.
Yeah.
You know, I've always see it's like it was. I've always liked boxing like as an amateur. It was fast paced.
Yeah.
It was 3 rounds, bang, bam, 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 bam. So you're going over there for me. Like it was 5 rounds. I was like, fucking hell, 5. I'd never gone past 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like it was. I'm on fire for the first 3.
Yeah.
By the third, I'm goosed anyway. I'm goosed out.
And they're just getting going.
Yeah. And they're just getting going, and it's slow, and it's very rhythmic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's quite fucking hell, brilliant. So they're like, you know, they're tough fights that you've had, but you've won 8 fucking titles, haven't you?
Yeah,
you've won the world title 8 times. How does that happen?
I've won it from 3 different weights as well. So I've won...
Welterweight, lightweight, and light welter.
Yeah, light welter and welter. I've won titles throughout them weights. I was 19 when I won my first one, and this were a kickboxing title, K1 rules, like punch, kick, knee, and no elbows, punch, kick, and knee. And this, I was 19, and Richard got a call. He said, "Oh, do you want to go fight for a world title in Italy?" And I thought, "Oh, fucking hell, yeah, fucking right." 19. I only had 3 weeks' notice, but I was fit anyway. I probably could have fought on 3 days' notice at that point in my career because I was close to weight. I was fit, so we just had a 3-week blast. I got over there and I was fighting this guy. I'd had about, how many fights had I had? I'd had about 20 fights or something, on 23 fights or something at the time. Yeah, 23 fights I'd had. This guy had 70 fights. He'd had 30 pro boxing, 30 Thai boxing, and 10 K1 rules, which is what the rules we were fighting. So he was a lot more experienced than me. And what happened at the weigh-in was, I got on the scales. The fight were at 62.3 kilos. So it was like just a little bit over lightweight. I don't know what the rules were, the weight was. 62.3 kilo. I weighed in, bang on. I'd flown out to Italy in the sweatsuit in the plane because I was a little bit over. By the time I got there, I was bang on 62.2. My opponent didn't show up to the weigh-in, so I said, "Where is he?" I said, "Oh, TV's here and everything." He said, "Oh, he's in traffic. He'll be an hour late." I said, "TV will come back. We'll get you back in an hour when he gets here. You go eat." Went away. Italian food, amazing. I had a big bowl of pasta, pizza, steak, rammed it all in. I must have had 3 or 4 litres of water to get all my weight back up. I should have been about 68, 69 kilo. Well, I would have been with food and water I've just put back in me. Yeah. Opponent comes to the weigh and said, "Right, he's here now. Come watch him get in." The scales had changed. I said, "Eh?" I said, "Where are scales?" He said, "Oh, you broke them." "What do you mean I fucking broke them?" I said, "No, you broke them. We've got these scales now." So he gets on these scales, 64 kilos. I went, "Well, tell him to lose weight." I said, "He's overweight." I said, "It's a world title. He's got to be on weight. It's a title fight." Yeah. And they went, "Oh, no, it'll look bad for TV if we start making him lose weight." I said, "I don't give a fuck if it looks bad for TV." I said, "He's got to be the same weight as me." And then my coach is going crazy, saying, "Make him lose weight, make him lose weight." I said, "No, he can't." I said, "Why don't you get back on the scales and we'll see what weight you are?" I said, "I've weighed in." I said, "I've already eaten." They went, "No, you get back on." I went, "All right." So I got back on. I was only 63.5. After hot water and everything I'd shoved in my body, I said, "Impossible." I said, "I'm about 68. So these scales are stupidly light. So if he's still 64, he must have been well up. I said, "What's going on here?" I said, and by the time the all said, "No, he can't lose weight, can't lose weight." My head had just gone. I said, "I don't give a fuck." I said, "He can be whatever weight he wants to be." And then in round 1, when we were fighting, next day, I remember the first time he hit me, he went bang with a right hand, and my legs shook a bit. And I thought, fuck me. I knew I should have made him lose the weight. And I took a bit of an hiding for the first 3 rounds, but I kept chopping away at his leg. Yeah. I thought, I can't punch with this guy. I thought, he's just too big and too heavy. And every time he planted his feet to punch, I might have took 2 or 3 punches, but I chopped a solid leg kick in. And by the time round 4 come, he could hardly walk. And I kicked him in round 4, straight across his leg, and he turned his back. And I looked at the ref to wave it off or give him a count, and ref didn't do it. So I ran across the ring and I booted him straight up his ass, and all Italian fans went fucking mental. They were throwing bottles in the ring, they were throwing bottles at me and everything. And I'm going, "What?" They're all booing, throwing bottles. And I went over to the ref. I went, I've stopped him, raised my hand. And the ref went, "No." I thought, fuck, am I going to get disqualified here for kicking it when he turned his back? But it was the ref's fault, because the referee has to protect yourself at all times, isn't it? But eventually, after a few minutes, fans kicking off and people throwing bottles in the ring, the ref came and raised my hand.
You have got disqualified before, haven't you? I remember reading something about, I think it was a £2 million purse. it was on your Wikipedia page, and it was regarding.
Yeah, that was on the Thai fight promotion.
That's right.
It was Thai fight. It was a massive tournament. And there were 16 of us, and 2 million baht purse. And the first round, I was probably at the time fighting at 63 kilos. This tournament was at 67. So the first round, when I weighed in, I was lighter than all the other fighters. I won my fight by knockout round 2. Didn't really matter about the weight.
Yeah, because you were well ahead. That's what I was reading. I was thinking he's way ahead, this kid.
Yeah. So what happened was, the next one, I got my weight right up, and I'd been a bit lazy when we were running, and I ended up weighing in 0.6 of a kilo over, and I was fucked from making weight. I couldn't get that last bit off. So they still said, just do your fight, and then we'll let you know if you're going to go through. So I had the fight, knocked him out, and then after the fight, they went, right, 1, we're not paying you, and 2, you can't go through to the final, because I'd weighed in heavy.
Do you feel like you got ripped off there?
Not even my own fault. I should have been on weight, mate.
Yeah,
it was my own fault.
It's a lot of money as well, isn't it?
I was gutted.
2 million.
I was gutted. All these fights were live on Thai TV. It were a really, really big
Channel
thing at the
7,
time.
isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot that the size are brought up on boxing, mate, you know what I mean? But who was did you ever come across Raymond Zecher?
I met him a few times, and the first time I met him, I was 19 or 18, and Decker brought a team of his fighters to fight a team of our guys from Bad Company.
He was probably like the pound for pound best fighter.
Yeah.
The
best foreigner.
The best foreign fighter.
Yeah.
He was made an honorary member of Thailand, wasn't he, by the king?
Yeah.
He was that good, you know what I mean? He was loved.
He were the first one to go over there and fight with the Thais in the stadiums, the Thai way, and the gamblers fucking loved him because he'd either knock him out or he'd go down like in a blaze of glory trying to knock him out. It was exciting.
I see, like when you're over there and you're speaking to Thais, they always bring him up. Raymond Zecher, and you know him, and you know, like I'd never heard of no one, mate. I didn't know who was who and what was what and what about Thai boxing. I just wanted to get in, and I just loved the feeling of it all. Really, I did learn as time went on, how to train and how to fight properly and what was what. And I even read about it. You know what I mean? I read about like the Nike Tom. He was the best boxer on the planet.
He defeated all the
Burmese soldiers. So I read all about how he'd been a prisoner in Burma and how the Burmese had put him against 10.
Yeah, and he did them
I don't know whether it was true.
Yeah, good story.
It was a good story. He put him against 10 of the best fighters, and he beat a lot of them. And this is where the Thai, I think it was the Burmese king, said, the Thais are blessed with venom in every limb. This is where that comes from. And it's an eightfold martial art. You're talking elbows, knees.
There's so many different ways to win and so many different ways to lose. Yeah. You can be like the best fighter stood up with your punches, kicks and knees, but if you can't clinch and you get some Thai champion who comes and grabs you around your neck, you're fucked.
See, I learned all the clinches, but I wasn't really confident. I wasn't confident in the clinches. I was good at a distance, and my stance was completely different because I was
boxing style.
I was used. I tried the square on stance. You know what I mean? And I tried the way with my hands up like that, but I was more comfortable like that. And you see that they're a bit ambivalent Thais when it comes to fighting a Westerner. Because do you know we've got power? Do you know where our shoulders are strong, bang, and you hit them and they go down? So they were avoiding me. That was what they were avoiding me, and they were keeping me. And
well, that's what they do. They fight negatively against Westerners. If you know, it happened a few times to me in the stadiums. If I hurt them early doors with punches, they wouldn't engage. They'd go on the back foot. They'd teep me. They'd move around. They'd just try and score, and they'd just try and avoid me trying to fucking land some bombs.
Yeah, and that's what that's all it was. I was getting teeped, and and then. When it would get into that clinch, it'd be diving on them. You know what I mean? And you get them kicks, like that gank cord, you call it.
Neck.
Right to the neck. You know what I mean? And you go, but I enjoyed it. So, when's your next fight?
My next fight, I've just signed it today. I've just signed the contract today.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, but I'm not allowed to say who it is, but it's on 8th of April, and it's going to be for one championship in the small MMA gloves. So I haven't fought since March last year. So this has been the longest I've ever been in my career with no fights. So
you're at your peak now, aren't you?
I feel, you know what? I'm 35 now. A lot of people say, "Oh, you're getting a bit old," but I feel stronger, sharper. I feel mentally better, and I understand my body more. I feel good at the minute.
Well, I was talking to John Gillies the other day, and John said to me, he said, I was talking about yourself and now at your age as well, because I did say he's getting on now, isn't he, for a fighter? Because at that age, 35, you're sort of like downhill then,
for a Thai fighting, yeah, definitely.
And he said to me, you know what, Billy, he's better as he is now.
Yeah, I believe so.
He believes, so I believe I've got the experience now, but it's the engine.
Yeah.
Is your engine still as strong as it was 10 years ago?
I believe it is because I understand my body better and I know how to train smarter and stuff like that. 10 years ago, I'd have probably just ran myself into the ground and not understood when I should have rested and just gone insane and just mashed my body. So a lot of times back then, I reckon I was probably getting in the ring 70% because I just trained so hard that I was probably on a dip and I should have just had a few days off here and there. I should have done a bit more recovery work. I should, stuff like that. Like now, I do stuff like hot yoga, cryo work, ice baths. I look after my body. I understand my diet more. I was just fueling myself with shite back then, mate. Yeah. I remember Jordan, who just walked in the door there, one time me and him had a fight in Thailand, both of us. We weighed in and we went and queued up outside fucking McDonald's and ate a load of shit. Do you know what I mean? So like, powering your body with McDonald's before a fight is not like the smartest thing to do. But because we were young and we were tough and we just got stuck in, we probably just didn't really feel it too much. But if I did that to myself now, I'd be in bed rolling around holding my stomach for 3 days. So I have to eat better. I have to look after my body more. And
so what's a day in the life of your training? So let's talk about your diet and your training today, right? So just give us a day in the life of you and how you train and how you diet.
So it depends what day it is, but right, I'll give you a couple of days. So Monday, I'll come in here on the morning. I'll probably, at the minute, I'm doing a bit of intermittent fasting. So I'll come in here, I'll have a black coffee and I'll come here. I'll kick the pads 5 rounds with Richard, maybe a little bag work. If some of the other lads in, it might be a bit of play sparring or clinch work as well. I've got a treadmill up there that I'll probably just jump on and do maybe 5K just to sweat. I'll go home. My dinner might be a lot of protein, salad, fish, or some mince or something like that. Yeah. Some of that's light enough for me to come back and train on the evening. Won't be too many carbs. I'll have my carbs on the night time after I've trained. So in the evening, I'll come back again. We'd usually either go out running, or if it's cold like it is now, we'll jump on tread. Maybe we'll do in between 5 to 8K. A lot of guys, they go running for miles, but I don't believe that's sport specific for Muay Thai because when you're fighting bursts. It's like bang, 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 bang. So I try and do more
explosive,
of a... Yeah, I'll try and do more of a shorter run, but at a fast pace and get my heart rate up really high. Then we'll come back here. It'll be 5 or 6 rounds, hard pad work, and then we'll either do hard sparring or hard clinch. And then one day of the week will be hard sparring. The rest of the times it'll be more play sparring because if you do too much hard sparring, your body's just going to pick up too many injuries. It's not like you're just boxing, you kick in and stuff like that. You don't want to be clashing
and the older you get, the harder it becomes.
Exactly,
recover, you know what I mean?
That's the only thing that I'm finding a bit more difficult now, which is why I'm trying to look after my body more. Injuries, if I got injured back then, I'd shake it off after 2 days. Yeah. If I pull my hammy or something now, I'm still limping a week later. So I've got to look at my recovery in my body. I need to look after my body better so I don't pick up these injuries then.
Yeah, that's it. It's like you're training smartly, you said, you know what I mean? It is about training smart. How many... so you're at an age now, you're 35. I remember, I started like fighting over there when I was 31, right? I boxed. So I'm at that age, I'm at the prime, so to speak. I'm really going for it, you know what I mean? I'm fit, I don't smoke, I don't drink. And I'm watching these tries, right? And I remember standing there thinking, he's there smoking fucking cigarettes, the crumb tips in. There's a boxer, right? This is straight up, right? He's standing in the corner, right? And he's smoking cigarette after cigarette. Right, and he's having shots of whiskey, sitting in his chair, right, and I'm thinking, I'm going to fucking smash him to pieces now, you know what I mean? I'm going to kill him. And I get in, and it's the toughest fight I've ever had. And I feel embarrassed. This kid's only small, and he's caked in tattoos, you know what I mean? And he's just, But it's like, they're unbelievable. The engine, the conditioned, like from babies, from kids.
So it's 5 or 6 year old. They're med different than us.
So you started late.
Yeah, well, 13.
13, right? These are
they've already got. By this time, they've already got 7, 8 years on me.
They've got years on you. So you're going into their arena, and like Lumpini, fucking class. Yeah. Ratchet class. Have you ever boxed in Kawila?
No,
in Chiang Mai, because that was that's their biggest stadium there. They've got Kawila, the Lumpini, Ratchedam. So these are the biggest stadiums, you know what I mean, that you've got in Thailand. So you've fought
Lumpini and Ratchedam.
So how do the Thais see you now? I mean, you must be like a fucking legend.
I've built a really good reputation for myself amongst all the Thais and the promoters and most of the gyms. They all know me because of my style, how I fight. I will either try and knock you out or try and stop you, or I'll go down in a blaze of glory if I have to lose on points. I always fight hard and aggressive, and the Thais, you know what Thais are like, and I always show good heart. So the Thais love that. As long as you show good heart and make a good fight of it, they'll warm to you.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to just like make sure I did in all of my fights. Coming back to what you just said about the experience difference and that, though, I remember when I had my 100th fight, not many people in England, I think there's only 2 or 3 guys in England who ever got over 100 fights. The promoter made a really big deal of it and stuff like that. He said, oh, it's Liam's 100th fight for a Westerner, this is a big deal. And the Thai I was fighting were called Singdam, 3-time Lumpini champion, had hundreds of fights himself. And they said to him before the fight, they said, oh, Liam's 100th fight this, what do you think of that? That's good for a Westerner. He went, I don't care, I had 100 fights when I was 15. That's what he said. So, do you know what I mean? I thought, oh, not like making me feel like a piece of shit, mate. Cheers, pal. But yeah, that's the experience, what you're up against. By the time they're 15, they've had 100 fights.
You know what, mate, you're right, it's phenomenal, mate. And it's very rare that you're going to get like a Westerner. It's very rare to get a good Thai boxer from a Western background.
Yeah.
It really is. Normally, like yourself, you're phenomenal. You know, I've read it, mate, and I believe it. You know, the baddest man on the planet that no one's heard of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you should be like, it's because it is a fucking lethal sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't emphasise it enough. It's fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is. It's a powerful experience getting in the ring with them. You told me, I spoke to you a couple of days ago about like Somlak Hamshin.
Oh, yeah.
So we both met Somlak.
When you said about the drinking and smoking, he was the prime example. He's one of the greatest fighters of all time.
Yeah.
He was Sanchai's teacher at one point.
Yeah.
He taught Sanchai all his moves and stuff like that. The first title ever win an Olympic gold medal boxing.
Yeah.
Mate, he'd drink fucking 3 glasses of whiskey and smoke 46 before getting in the ring that night and still humiliate whoever you put in front of him.
I met Somlak in the Philippines because he was playing a role of Diajan.
He was the trainer, wasn't he, in the film?
He was the trainer, the boxing Diajan. Can't speak a word of English.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even over there, he was on the phone gambling. You know what I mean? Because they love gambling, they love smoking, they love drinking. It's just the way of life. Lovely fella, great and we got on well, and he played a great role as well. You know what I mean?
Well, he fought in England, did some look, and he came to England. He weighed in, and then he said to the promoter, he went, right, take me out. I said, oh, for food? He went, no. Took club. I said, I want a drink. Yeah. This was the night before the fight. Went out, he got absolutely fucking rat-arsed, staggered back home, and then the next night I was commentating on the fight, and I'd spoke to him that morning, and I could smell the whiskey in him still, and I said, oh, Mao, I'm drunk. Yeah. he went, oh, my Mao.
Yeah.
And then he got in the ring and he fought Kieran Kedal. Kieran was like one of the best fighters in England at the time. He just absolutely battered him. He battered Kieran without even trying. Yeah. That's how good that guy is.
He's got like a warm smile. He's got a warm feeling about him. Somlak, you know what I mean? It was nice to have met him. So, right, we're coming to the end. It's been a pleasure, right? And I always say this at the end of my podcast. But I like to always think I say this, you know what I mean? Is there anything, apart from you sitting there freezing cold like yourself,
I'm
right?
cold, yeah.
Right, is there anything, right, any pearls of wisdom, anything you'd like to tell, say to your guests, anything? Yeah, there's an example. What would you say to a younger Liam coming through those doors?
Anyone who's going to come in, like, you've got to be disciplined. I say this all the time, you've got to be obsessed. Anything that you're going to do in any walk of life, it don't mean if you're going to be a fighter, or if you want to be a doctor, you want to be a vet, or even if you want to be the best car mechanic, or whatever you want to do, you've got to be obsessed by it. You've got to put every ounce of energy you've got into it, because I honestly believe if you're obsessed with something like that and you put in all the work, the universe will repay you. If you're talented at something, but you don't put in the work, it doesn't matter how much talent you've got, eventually you're going to come across someone who's working harder than you, and they'll take your #1 spot if you're a fighter. They'll take your world title off you. They'll be, whatever you're doing, they'll excel and get past you. So you have to be obsessed. Discipline and obsession are like the 2 main things in life that are going to take you to the best of whatever, best of the best, whatever you want to be.
Yeah, that's great advice, discipline, and with that, thanks.
Thank you very much, mate. Thanks.
Appreciate that. Thank you.